Happy Halloween, everybody. It's great to be with you. It's great to be with Dr. Bob of Dr. Bob Sports. I know a lot of you don't realize this. I like to gamble. We know Tom likes to gamble. Batman also likes to gamble. In fact, I haven't been going with Dr. Bob this year, and the mansion is in foreclosure. The Batmobile has been repossessed, and now it's time to get some of those possessions back and get back to fighting crime. Hello, Bob.
Good. Should it be Batman?
I think it should be Batman. I think absolutely. I think absolutely it should be Batman.
Yeah.
I've had this. I don't know how long I've had this. It's like the dumbest thing. It's a Batman beanie. It's so I can actually wear this and my head like it'll be nice and warm and everything. But I'm gonna wear this in December, just like rolling around the streets, dropping the kids off to school, wearing the Batman beanie.
Yeah. Around the kids, it's Batman, but around us, it's Batman.
It's Batman. There you go. Yeah. Maybe that's what I should be. I should wear this thing the whole time. And I can be
$100 bills coming out of the sides of the, tuck some $100 bills in there.
Exactly. Well,
I'm wearing my Dr. Bob swag today. I should get
there. You go. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. If we got the dollar bills, I don't know if we've made enough money on the show to afford that type of what would you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Graphics, I guess it would be, but we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get the Batman.
Monopoly
we'll get the Batman graphics. We'll be good to go. All right, let's start off with let me get this off. It's ridiculous for now. Let me get started with the morning game, the SEC game. We'll get to a few SEC games, and then we'll get to a couple games that you like. And then we'll try to figure out the Niner mess, be that as it may.
Yeah.
Let's start off with Vandy and Texas. And Texas is a team this year. I'm not sure they've had one game where they've impressed me all the way through. Like Oklahoma was impressive defensively, but Mateer was a little banged up and he threw some balls to him. And their defense was really good. Offense wasn't great. It just took advantage of the mistakes that Oklahoma presented them. Mississippi State, they had to come from behind to barely win that game. Arch Manning was fantastic in the second half, got the concussion, but they finished it off in overtime. Vandy has impressed me. Vandy is a team that I like. I wouldn't mind taking them. They could have lost to Mizzou if Purbulla didn't go out. I mean, he snapped his leg at the goal line, and they could have easily lost that game. But they played good against everybody. LSU might not even be a good victory anymore. Alabama was a good loss as far as quality of loss. I don't know Arch Manning's status, but if I was getting points, I wouldn't mind taking Vandy in this. How do you see it?
Yeah, well, obviously it depends on Arch Manning. He's considered a game time decision. The backup was the backup at Troy last year. And then was made the starter after Goose Crowder went down, and he got I'd like to say 6 starts, maybe 7, something like that. Wasn't terrible, but it's the Sun Belt, and you're averaging 7.2 yards per attempt or 6.5 yards per pass play in the Sun Belt. That's not particularly strong, and obviously he's got better talent to work with at Texas than he did, but he's also facing tougher defenses. So I think as much as Manning has struggled, I think it would be, maybe a 4-point downgrade would probably be my best guess if they had to bring in the backup. So I have 2 different scores, and it kind of depends. Either way, this really is a battle between Vanderbilt's elite offense and the Texas's elite defense. And you mentioned that they played a complete game, Texas. Their best game score, which takes into account yardage metrics and success rates and all that stuff. Their best game score of the year was Ohio State, a game they lost.
Yeah.
They outgained Ohio State 5.0 yards per play to 4.2 yards per play on the road. Ohio State's the number 1 team in the country. I mean, that was actually their best game. But other than that, it's just been so up and down, and Manning's been up and down. And the defense, though, consistently good. They faced 6 good offensive teams this year: South Carolina, Alabama. Wait a minute, let's see who they play. I was naming Commodores a good defense team. But Texas played 6 good offensive teams, and they've been 1.5 yards per play better than average against those teams relative to how good those defenses are.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, very elite offensively, no matter how you look at it, but they really put up some big numbers in 3 games against bad defensive teams. Even relatively, they outplay their normal. So I said, well, in this game, I'm just going to look at Vanderbilt's offense and how they've done against good defensive teams. So they faced 4 good defenses: South Carolina, Alabama, LSU, and Missouri. In those games, Vanderbilt averaged 23 points, 5.9 yards per play. That's not bad considering that those 4 teams would allow 4.7 yards per play to an average offense. But so they're 1.2 yards per play better than average. That's really good. But Texas is 1.5 yards per play better than average on defense. I think Texas has an advantage in this game, and then you're getting Vandy around 20, 21, 23 points, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Down to the Vanderbilt defense, a good defense, but kind of average by SEC standards kind of defense, which is good on a national scale, but not particularly good defensively. But Texas offense, even with Manning, hasn't been very good. They're just half a yard per play better than average, depending on the day. I mean, sometimes they look terrible. So it really comes down to that Texas defense and how well they do against Vanderbilt's offense, which is still good even against the better teams they faced. I think Texas has the edge there. So I made this 26-22 with Arch Manning playing and 100%, and I make it 23-23 in the math with Manning out. Right now, they're -3. The market, I think, is assuming Manning's going to play. And if he does, I think the line will go up to 3.5 or 4. If he doesn't play, I do think it's going to go down to 6. So I'm kind of right on market here. It depends on how much you think Manning's going to play or not the game regardless. I mean, I just think it's a tough game to bet.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, which I'm not even sure what they're calling it nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah, they can't call it that officially, but
whatever reason, you can't call it that because, we don't want kids to drink on. We don't want kids to drink on campus. We don't want to give them that idea.
That's so ridiculous.
I have no idea. I guess they're like, well, we're mixing alcohol with, it's like, yeah, I know, kids on campus.
That's what makes it fun for adults.
Exactly. It's making what's makes it fun for kids. And I should give Daniel and Max some credit too. I talked about the money graphics. We got the bats, we got the pumpkins, we got all that. Yeah. It's very cool looking, very Halloween-ish, which I do enjoy very, very much.
My friend said, "Oh, Bob, what are you gonna be for Halloween tonight? What's your costume?" And my costume is sort of aggravated dad answering the door, giving candy to brats, basically, while I'm trying to get my work done. I've got 40-something games to put on my free analysis page, and I'm trying to crank that out while these kids are ringing my doorbell because my kids and my wife, they're all out trick-or-treating.
Yeah, they're having fun.
Running back and forth between the door and my office trying to get my work done. So I am going to be aggravated work dad is what I'm going to be for Halloween tonight. But anyway.
You are going to be, well, hopefully you have some beverages lined up for after.
I've got some lines ready to squeeze.
There you go. We don't get much around here. We used to get like 200-300 kids. Last year we got about 40. I don't know what happened to it, but I guess. And I like trick-or-treaters when they come up, especially the little ones. The ones I don't like is when they throw a baseball cap on and they try to pass it off as a costume. Like, look, if you want some candy, give it a little effort.
Years old.
Yeah, just a little effort. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I ask. Okay. World's largest outdoor cocktail party. I think I might have had Texas against Florida, and that's the only game Lagway has played really well this year. I think it was his best game.
Yeah, for
this
sure.
year.
By far. They brought in that freshman receiver who his first
he made a difference
out of nowhere, and he went off for like 130 or 140 receiving yards, and they've been having trouble all year finding a complimentary wide receiver to Brown, and they found one in that game. I mean,
There's no doubt.
He was really good. But
so Georgia's weird this year because they've been good offensively and not as good defensively. I mean, you look at the teams I would consider the elite teams or close to elite offensively that they played. And there may be other ones, but Mississippi moved the ball up and down the field on them. Tennessee moved the ball up and down the field on them. I mean, up and down the field. They've been able to run the ball pretty well. I like Gunnar Stockton. He's kind of a college. He's just a college quarterback, but
he's very safe. A lot of checkdowns, but that's all right. You don't want to turn the ball over. You got a good running. You got a good defense. He's not lighting it up. It's not a big play offense.
Yeah. So how do you see this, and how do you see their defense? Because again, they've gotten lit up a couple times this year.
They actually rate a little. They actually are. You think they got lit up a couple times, but really it was only Tennessee and Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they gave 7.1 yards per play to Tennessee. Now, Tennessee at home would average around 7.7 yards per play against an average defensive team. So they were actually 0.6 yards per play better than average in the game. But 41 points, that's just so many plays are being run. Tennessee runs their offense so fast. Now against Mississippi, 35 points, but only 5.9 yards per play. 353 total yards allowed is less than the national average, and Mississippi runs their offense fast. So that was a really good defensive effort.
Okay.
So Georgia's defense actually grades out pretty well. Even in those two games, they grade out pretty well. And for the season, they've been 1.3 yards per play better than an average defense. Florida, like you said, up and down. Lagway, he couldn't find a second receiver. Vernell Brown was the one guy producing. Sturdivant, who came Cal, UCLA, then Florida, he's been terrible. Eugene Wilson, terrible. Then Dallas Wilson came in against Texas, and he played great, and he's been pretty good. He's played 3 games. The problem is Vernell Brown is still their best receiver, and he is out, I think, for the rest of the season. He's out. So now they're back to the problem before Texas, which is we have one reliable receiver. That's not going to be good enough. So that's the issue. And Lagway, he threw 9 interceptions last year. He's already thrown 9 interceptions this year. I mean, he's super interception prone. 18 picks on 414 pass attempts in his career is a very high percentage, like 3.5%, 4.5% almost. That's really, really high. He just does a lot of careless things. And with only one good receiver, again, who's only played 3 games in his career, going up against a good defensive coordinator and a good defense, I think that's a problem for Florida. Florida, they can run the ball and they can do other stuff and they find ways to score. And they look like, oh my God, Florida is a disaster. But have you seen their schedule? They have by far the toughest schedule in the country. They played LIU to start the season. Then South Florida. Well, turns out South Florida is a pretty good team. So they lose to South Florida. They probably shouldn't have lost that game, but that's not an easy game. Then they get, road games, LSU, Miami, Texas A&M, home game against Texas, which they won. They have played the hardest schedule in the country. So they actually grade out like a pretty good team. They've been 0.8 yards per play better than average on offense, 0.5 yards per play better than average on defense when you count for who they faced. They just keep playing good teams every single week. Last week, they got sort of a break, but not really. They still playing good teams all the time. I came out with this with Vernell Brown out. That sort of tipped the scale a little bit toward Georgia. I made it 28-20. The line is 7, juiced up. I don't think it's a game you get involved with. And it could be worse for Florida if Lagway starts forcing it again like he did early in the season because he only had one receiver who could get open. That might be the case again. So I don't trust Florida now with their offense now that they're back to one decent receiver. So I probably lean slightly with Georgia, but it's just not enough value.
Got it. All right, let's get to the last SEC game. It's a triple header, and then we'll go to a couple games that you like, a couple that you released. Oklahoma and Tennessee. I mean, kind of like different styles going against one another a little bit. I mean, one is kind of offensively based, one's defensively based. I mean, although Tennessee's better defensively probably than you think. And if Mateer's healthy, although Mateer's like the Pop Warner quarterback, they just get him the ball and go, hey, do everything for us. Throw it, run it, just do it all for us if you can. That'd be great.
It's like Pavia from Vanderbilt.
Exactly. So how do you see this one? Because I'd like to lean Tennessee on this, but it might be just one of those ones, again, that I just watch the game.
No, I wouldn't lean Tennessee necessarily. Strength on strength, right? Like you mentioned. Tennessee's offense, elite, 7.3 yards per play against teams that would normally allow 5.6. I mean, that's really good. They run their offense fast. Oklahoma's defense, even better. So, I mean, Tennessee's offense is 1.7 yards per play better than average. Oklahoma's defense is 2.0 yards per play better than average. I threw out the Kent State game because Kent State played their backup quarterback because they didn't want their starter to get hurt before Mac played, so they didn't even play him.
That's funny.
Threw that game out, but they're still, even without Kent State in there, where they beat 44-0, they're still only allowing 4.1 yards per play against a tougher than average schedule of offensive teams. So Oklahoma has an advantage in that offense versus defense matchup. It's just basically the other side of the ball. What can happen? Well, I mean, it depends. Mateer, is he getting healthier? Looked pretty good last week. It seems like he's getting a little bit better each week. And you mentioned Tennessee, not known for their defense. They give up a lot of yards. They give up a lot of points, but that's because there's a lot of possessions. Teams are getting about 2 extra possessions a game against them because their offense runs at such a high pace. So Tennessee is allowing 5.5 yards per play, which is decent, but it's even better when you consider the teams they face would average 6.4 yards per play against an average FBS defense. So 0.9 yards per play better than average. That makes them like a top 20 defense. I mean, they're actually really good defensively on a compensated yards per play perspective. It's just that so many plays are being run that teams get more chances to score against them. But they are a good defensive team, and their defense is better than Oklahoma's offense. So I think these teams are really even from the line of scrimmage. Oklahoma's got better special teams. 3 points is sort of like, well, I'd rather have Oklahoma +3 than given the 3. I think overall Oklahoma is slightly better, maybe about the same, slightly better from the line of scrimmage. Better special teams, which helps field position. I don't know if the home field is worth enough to justify laying 3. So I passed the game, but I'd rather have the points, I think.
All right, let's get to a couple games that you are involved in. Let's start off with one that was a strong opinion, Texas Tech against Kansas State. Kansas State's probably one of the more disappointing teams in the country. I remember the Ireland game. It was them, Iowa State, the battle for the Big 12 championship. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get there. I don't think either one of them are going to quite make it there. It's been a disappointing year for both of them, but especially for Kansas State. Texas Tech, on the other hand, has been a team that we all heard about before the season started, with all the transfer portals, the money they're spending, and they've lived up to the hype in this season. Yeah, they're really good. The thing about Texas Tech that surprised me the first time I watched them, Bob, was against Utah. I go, wow, they're good in the trenches. Like, when's the last time I could say Texas Tech was good in the trenches? I don't know if I've ever said Texas Tech good in the trenches, but they are. How do you see this one?
Yeah, they rotate they got like 6 or 7 defensive linemen.
It's crazy.
Who are so active and they're so fast on defense. Their defense is dominating. The only reason they lose to a team like Arizona State, who is down this year, is because they had a backup quarterback who just wasn't as good as Morton.
Yeah.
Well, he's out now, the backup. So Morton's back. But Morton could have played last week. They were a huge favorite. They were playing Oklahoma State, and they were favored by 1 million. So they left him out. They're like, oh, he could have played last week, but why would you play him against Oklahoma State? Yeah. But anyway, the backup got hurt, so he's out for the season now. So Morton's back, which is good. Kansas State, really disappointing because they're always consistently good under Kleinman, that coach. Biggest problem is Dylan Edwards was supposed to be their big play back this year. He was hurt early in the season. He got on the opening kickoff against Iowa State, right? An opening punt or something. And then he had he's healthy and had that one game against UCF where he went off for like 160 yards on 20 carries and busted a long run. It's like, all right, well, then he got hurt again. And now apparently he's not hurt. He's got NIL dispute.
Oh, God.
He's like that dude.
Here we go.
Like that guy Sluka from UNLV.
Yeah, UNLV, that guy. Whatever happened to him, by the way.
Yeah, and he's terrible. Sluka is terrible. He's a backup quarterback on some Conference USA team now, I think. I don't know where he is, but he's a backup somewhere. Yeah, that's what happened. Sluka, you're not very good. But anyway, so Edwards, I think, is out for the rest of the year. Word whispers are that he's not coming back. He's done. So they don't have a running game. The rest of the running backs are terrible. Puts more pressure on the quarterback, who's not having a great season either. So their offense is just barely better than an average team, without Edwards. Now, Texas Tech is one, we talked about Oklahoma's defense being 2.0 yards per play better than average. Texas Tech is 1.9 yards per play better than average. They are a top 5 defense, and they face some decent teams and shut them down. So they're legit. People are like, oh, well, they're beating up on, they play Kent State and all these. No, they've played some good teams, and that defense holds up. It's been really, really good. They've held every opponent under 5 yards of play, and they've faced a couple good offensive teams. So now with Morton back, and Morton has been so much better than the backup, Hammond. And I thought, well, he really lit it up against some bad teams. Tell you what, for this game, I'll just say, let's only look at Morton's numbers against Houston, Utah, and Kansas. 3 legit teams with better than average defenses, and see how he did against them. Well, in those 3 games, he averaged 7.4 yards per pass play, which is 1.7 higher than those teams would normally give up to an average quarterback. So he's been really good. The running game's good. The defense is good. Kansas State is mediocre on offense by Big 12 levels. The defense isn't particularly strong either. The only team they seem to be able to have magic on is Kansas. They beat them 17 times in a row. Like, what kind of voodoo do they have over Kansas that they just, even when they're not supposed to beat Kansas, they kill Kansas. I think it's back down to earth. And this is one of those games, the situation favors Kansas State. And I would have made this a big bet on Texas Tech -7 had it not been for the situation going on the other side. But it's still so strongly mathematically in favor of Texas Tech -7 that I still made it a half-unit bet that I gave out to clients, even with the situation favoring the other side. So I think Texas Tech is a good play here.
Well, let's get to Miami and SMU, where you see the Hurricanes come in. I don't know where they're ranked right now, but they've one loss. And Smooth's kind of I know you've had them kind of as an overrated team all year long, and that's the way they play. They had that one really good result at Clemson. And look, Clemson, for what it's worth, isn't what people think Clemson was supposed to be going into this year.
Klubnik was out. It was Clemson's backup
was out that game, yeah.
I think he was sacked 6 times. I mean, he just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you like this one. This was one of your plays. I haven't seen Miami play a lot this year. I've seen him play a couple times. I haven't really seen Smooth play except for the last 2 weeks to watch him against Wake, where they could have lost worse and they ended up losing last week. And you mentioned the Clemson game. This one opened at 10, went to 12, 12.5, now back down to 10.5, 11. It's kind of bounced around between 10 and 12, 12.5. Who do you got here?
I think Miami wins easy. Last week I had Wake Forest as a best bet.
Yep.
And my highest rated, 2 units.
And
they, Wake Forest won the game. It was hard to watch because Wake Forest kept on self-destructing.
Yeah, they did.
But I mentioned in the analysis last week that you get the written analysis that SMU's offense is overrated and that they'd have trouble against Wake Forest, so as a good defense. SMU only had 240 yards at 3.6 yards per play and scored 12 points in that game. Now they get Miami, who has the 3rd best defense in my ratings in the country, 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
Miami's allowed just 285 yards a game and 4.5 yards per play against FBS opponents. Those FBS opponents have been pretty good offensively. Those teams would combine to average 6.4 yards per play. So they're 1.9 yards per play better than average. They're in the same category as Oklahoma and Texas Tech and some elite defensive teams. So SMU gets 240 yards against Wake Forest. My math model predicts 241 in this game. I mean, they might do slightly better. But Miami has not allowed, they've only allowed 16 points a game to a schedule of really good offensive teams. I don't think SMU gets 16 because SMU's offense is actually worse than the average offensive rating of the teams that Miami has faced this year. That they've only get up 16 points a game to. So I have SMU like 10 to 14 points is probably the range that SMU is going to score. So then it comes around to Miami's offense. SMU's got a good run defense. They're really good against the run. And that's why Wake Forest had trouble really putting that game away, is because they don't have the quarterbacks capable of really taking advantage of SMU's pass defense, which is not very good. They're worse than average on a national scale. They look better than that, but not only did they play Clemson's backup quarterback, they played Syracuse's backup quarterback as well, who's been terrible. Syracuse hasn't scored more than 18 points against any team since this guy's been in. So SMU's benefited from facing the worst of the quarterbacks in 2 of those games. But when they have faced good quarterbacks, they've been destroyed. They've only faced 2 teams all year that have a good quarterback. Baylor has Sawyer Robertson. Sawyer Robertson had 432 yards through the air on 51 pass plays, 8.5 yards a pass play against SMU. The other good quarterback they faced was TCU and Josh Hoover. Hoover averaged 8.8 yards per pass play, 371 pass yards. That includes sacks. So they faced 2 good quarterbacks, got destroyed both times through the air. And Carson Beck, 73% completions, 1.9 yards per pass play, better than an average quarterback. He should probably throw for 8 yards a pass play or more in this game too. I don't think Miami's stupid enough to try to run on SMU because teams have trouble running. And that's why teams have thrown the ball an average of 45 times a game against SMU, because why run it? Let's just throw it because we can. And the good quarterbacks have really taken advantage of SMU's secondary, which is overrated. So I think Miami can do the same thing. They'll score 28 to 34 points, and I think SMU gets 10 to 14, maybe. I just don't. I think it's a blowout. This is my favorite bet of the week. So I laid the 10, which is why the line went up early in the week. It did shoot up 12 or so, or 12 and a half. It's come back down to 10 and a half. It's still a 2-unit play at minus 11 or less. So I like that side.
There you go. Go back to the U. All right, let's get to the Niners, and I think we've done this pretty much every week on the Niners. It's pretty playing, it's pretty not playing, and it looks like he's not going to play.
Yeah, just got the news before we came on.
What'd you say? It was like 70% that he wasn't going to play?
Early in the week, it was reported that he was 70% likely to play. He'd been progressing, things were looking good. Likely to play. Now not likely to play. He is available, but will not start.
Okay.
That just came over this afternoon. That puts a little wrench in things. I thought, well, all right, 70% to start. Even if he doesn't start, I see a lot of points in this game for other reasons. So I bet the over on Monday when the total was down to 47. It's gone up to 48.5, and still at 48.5. I think even with him out, I think it's still sitting there at 48.5. I'd still lean with the over here, even with Purdy out. Mac Jones has been all right. People think, oh, Mac Jones he should be the starter. They're 4-2. He's averaged 6.3 yards per pass play. That's pretty mediocre. I mean, Purdy's career is 7.9 yards per pass play, so that's a big difference. The matchups are pretty good. The Niners are better versus cover 1 compared to other coverages. That's just Shanahan can destroy cover 1. Giants play a lot of cover 1. Giants secondary's banged up. The safety Holland's out. The cornerback Adebo's banged up. Both missed last week's game. Cornerback Flott is out. His backup is Devontae Banks is terrible. So I think I think Shanahan will come up with something that'll allow Jones to move the ball. So I think that'll be fine. Also, they're having problems. Well, here's the thing. You got Giants' strength is their defensive line, and they got Abdul Carter and Thibodeau, but Trent Williams can handle his business on the left side. The right tackle McKivitz has done better than expected. He's 14th in the league in pass blocking efficiency. So they have 2 good tackles. The Giants' strength on the defensive line is the edge rushers. So it sort of matches up okay for the Niners to protect Jones. And I think they'll be able to get, scheme it to get the ball out quick enough. So I do like the Niners offense, even with Jones, to score a good amount of points. But the Niners defense, you saw what Houston did last week. And I had a bet on Houston last week, and I had a bet on the over last week.
Yep.
And you saw what Houston's offense had, their best game of the season against the Niners. They're just decimated. I mean, there's just nothing, their best players are out. What can you do? I mean, they play a lot of, now they have to play a lot of cover 4, to keep the lid on. And, Brian Daboll in his career has destroyed cover 4. The way he runs his offense really works well against that type of defense. New York's offense averages 30% more yards per pass play versus cover 4 defense than against other coverages. So they thrive against that type of defense. I think it's a good matchup for the Giants. So even with Purdy out, the model still comes up with 50 points predicted. So I still will lean over here at 48.5. I wouldn't necessarily bet it at that number. If it goes down to 48, maybe a small bet. The math has the Giants by 3.3 points. The model does, but the situation is very favorable for San Francisco, and the matchups are favorable. So I wouldn't touch the side. Although I'd probably, if I had to bet it, I'd rather have the Giants. So they're still getting 2.5. I'd still probably rather have the Giants if I had to bet the side. But if you're going to bet the game, maybe a small bet on the over at 48.5, and it goes down to 48, maybe a little bit more.
Got it. It's interesting with McKivitz. McKivitz feels like every fan's, if you're a baseball fan, you know what I'm talking about when I say this. Every baseball fan thinks their bullpen sucks. No matter what the numbers say, they think their bullpen sucks. And I think Niner fans feel like McKivitz is way worse than he actually is. I think sometimes I feel that way, Bob. But I feel like this with McKivitz. I think they gave him an extension. I think it was like $14-15 million a year, something like that. So it's not a ton of money, but there's not a ton of tackles out there. So you got to pay somebody some money. And I think you get what you pay for in McKivitz. I think you get a guy that's kind of in the middle, not great, not terrible, just
better than average.
Yeah, and you're not going to have two $35 million tackles. You're not going to have, you got to pick and choose. I think McKivitz is actually doing a pretty decent job for what they're asking of him.
Yep. I mean, there's 64 tackles in the league, 64 starting tackles in the league, and he ranks 14th in pass blocking efficiency.
That's way better than I would have thought.
Yeah. I mean,
way better than I would have thought.
Yeah, I think people are giving him a hard time. Well, the Niners have also faced a lot of good edge rushers on that side of the ball, too. He's done pretty well. I think he's held up.
It's interesting in football nowadays, and I don't know when this started, but the whole left tackle to guard the quarterback's blind side, I don't know if the right tackle isn't as important as the left tackle anymore, because they put their pass rushers on both sides now.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of good left defensive ends, edge rushers that come in against the right tackle now. I mean, there are a lot of good ones. A lot of the best ones play from that side of the line of scrimmage.
All right, before we let you go, if you had one candy, and that's the only candy you could have the rest of your life, what would it be?
I think the Andes mint. The Andes candy is those little Andes.
Little rectangles?
Those little mint chocolate ones.
Wow.
Either that or the miniature Reese's. The big Reese's, I don't like the ratio of chocolate to peanut butter, but the little mini cups that you get at Halloween, the little mini ones, those have the perfect ratio of chocolate to peanut butter. So one of those.
Oh, that is so good. I didn't expect Andes. I didn't expect anybody to say Andes.
It's very elegant. Very elegant answer.
Yeah, it's very elegant. No, you get
there
that
it
in
is.
Like higher end hotels on your pillow.
That's what
Andes
I want.
Mint. Exactly.
Sometimes I pay $400 a night to sleep at a hotel just to get the candy.
Just to get the Andes Mint.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have 4 of the miniature Reese's than one of the big ones, just because the ratio is much better.
It is better.
The ratio is much better. Where the original Reese's Pieces gives you 1.9 yards of peanut butter per square inch, they don't give you quite as much on the small ones. On a candy that would average,
I like a little less peanut butter and a little more chocolate ratio. The big ones, too much peanut butter. That's why the mini ones are so good.
The minimums are so good. Bob, as always, everybody go to drbobsports.com. A lot of free stuff on there if you're interested. A lot of leans, which are profitable. And if you don't wager and you just want to be a smarter college football fan or pro football fan for that matter, go to the site, drbobsports.com. A lot of really, really good stuff. 2 plays this week that we let you in on that Dr. Bob released earlier this week. I know because I get them. Texas Tech over Kansas. That was a strong opinion as a half unit play. And then a full unit play was Miami over SMU. He released that at 10, but he says a 2 unit play and anything under 11.
11 or under. Yep.
11 or under. So you can still get it 10.5.
And if you read the NFL analysis, I'm guessing this is the time of year when fantasy players, the guys that play fantasy, daily fantasy or fantasy, come to the site and read. Not every play is on the free analysis page because I withhold the bets for clients.
Yep.
But the stuff you can read on matchups and this team does well versus cover zone, or this slot receiver is going up against the number 1 nickelback, and you could really get a lot of good information for your fantasy stuff on there too. So even if you're not a bettor, you're playing fantasy football or something, there's a lot of good stuff you can learn on those write-ups.
No doubt. I always forget about the fantasy angle. There's a lot of different angles you can take. Just go to drbobsports.com if you want to know more about football, both college and pro. I would say happy Halloween, but I don't know. I see kind of a bah humbug here.
Yeah, frustrated, work dad trying to get some work done and kids ringing my doorbell.
Maybe they're looking for plays. Give them Miami.
Yeah, maybe.
Start giving out plays at the door.
Guy answers the door. Guy's on the phone. Got my bookie on the other side. What's the play? Dr. Bob, don't let me down.
That would be classic. Have a good Halloween, Bob. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Batman.
All right, there you go. Fantastic. Dr. Bob Sports. Always fun talking to Bob Stoll. Yes, I am Batman. I was Batman earlier today. Dennis Ranahan, Quacks High Sports, PigsFootball.com. We'll welcome in Dennis. We'll welcome in Batman to get some plays.
Yeah. Well, before we talk, Tom, I want to look right in the camera here with an announcement that there may be some people that claim that Quacks High had the Tennessee Titans last week over the Indianapolis Colts. And what I want you to know,
you're hacked.
There's only one response to that, and that is they also had the Jets. They also had the Jets.
Hey, I will let people know that I know you were probably thought we're going to take Dennis to the asylum this week for not only saying he liked Tennessee, but he liked Tennessee to cover. I mean, to win outright, which was just.
I had the money line. I bet the money line on it. I was, and
hey, I'll give you credit. You laid it out there. You didn't withhold it. I give you credit for that. I still thought, good Lord, it might be time to take Dennis in for an evaluation. But Dennis was 3-2 last week, and he won on Monday, and he won on Thursday. So you have plays like that. You don't win them all. I mean, it'd be nice to win them all, but that was the one that we just kind of highlighted in the show last week because it was a stunning. It wasn't that stunning that he said he's going to take the Titans plus 14.5. It was stunning when he said outright. That's where everybody was like, "Whoa, hold on a minute now. Hold on a minute. I hope you didn't tell your wife."
Well, she watched the show.
No.
And then of course,
of
course, there was the Jets play on Sunday. And
that was a nice one.
That was a bullet. And so
that was a bullet that came out late.
A bullet comes out late. A bullet is this, And
so maybe you were 4.
5 or 8 a year because the criteria for the bullet wasn't as illuminated to us often before. So we'd be on a lot of games that then would develop a bullet. But here's what a bullet is. There's a game where the public is 70% or more betting one side, and the books keep moving the line down, inviting more action. And so last week, in the last couple hours, the Jets were 6-point underdogs, which seemed to make sense given they opened at 6.5, and then they kicked it down to 5.5. I went, there's a bullet. That there it is. That's what it is. And so then we sit there and watch that for 3 quarters, and Pam is nailing me at every corner, Why a bullet, she would say. It's a bullet. It's mechanical, Pam. There it is. I'm not making this stuff up. This is what happened. So the 23 points in the fourth quarter, which is more points than I think
my goodness
the season, was very satisfying.
Yeah, that's not a resume builder for any defensive coordinator. That one was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Jets got 2 stops when they needed them. That was enough. That was enough. So yeah, and last night was a nice kind of easy one. Although Baltimore wasn't as easy as it appeared. It ended up being easy, but the first half, Miami was the one moving the ball. They just kept imploding in the red zone. Turnover, stopped on downs, missed field goal. Like anything that could happen happened to them. Either they did it to themselves or the Ravens caused it. Ravens didn't really move the ball all that much in the first half, but they had the lead 14-6. And then in the second half, that's when they kind of took over, and you saw the Dolphins wilt a little bit. But it's kind of nice to get those occasionally where you're like, I don't have to sweat it the last 3 or 4 minutes.
I was operating from something you and I share. How can this slip away? And when you're laying 8.5 points, it's never over.
No, you're right.
You got to be in the parking lot before you can count that one. And it seemed to me that the Dolphins are a problem, of course. But this Baltimore team, the first indicator we were on the right side was a halftime line, because usually when you're up 14-6 on the road, you're up by 8 points. There's going to be the halftime line is going to expect the game to come closer, and the halftime line was Baltimore -2.5. So they're saying 10.5 would be the right bet now. And I went, oh, well, that's an indicator that we're going to get the blowout. That was a good clue. The other thing is, you take Baltimore. Kevin was a week earlier than me. He had bet him early against Chicago when he thought Lamar was coming back a week ago. And he bet him early and was laying 6.5, 7 points. And then, of course, Lamar was called out. And the line goes down to 1.5. It closed at 2.5. But and Kevin said, "Oh no, I told him. I said, I even wrote it. They usually cover those lines. Those lines that look so bad because of the motivation involved. You take a team like the Bears now that go, hey, we don't have to face Lamar, and you go Baltimore. Oh my God, we have to win with the backup. And so there's the exact motivation we wanted. And that paid off for Baltimore. Of course, they won and covered against Chicago. They won and covered, last night. That team's going to win and cover a lot from here on out because they're not messing around. They know they need to win every game. So it doesn't matter if they're playing, the Chiefs or they're playing the Saints. They're going to be totally motivated game in and game out. We'll be on Baltimore maybe every week, unless we run into a thing. It's also interesting that if we look at the games the last week and last night, there was only one game that wasn't decided by double digits. 8 of them by 20 points or more. That's not parity in the NFL. And part of the reason for that, I do believe, is that the NFL got what they wanted. They put the best teams in tough situations early in the year, hoping they'd pick up a loss or two to make the races for the whole year more competitive. And they got their wish. Detroit lost a couple. They didn't expect Baltimore to lose 5, but they did. They opened against Buffalo. Buffalo's lost 2 cents. And New England came out of the gate slow and had lost 3. That's great for the league balance, for maintaining competitive races. Just as importantly, it means we can now take some good teams because they're not messing around. Kansas City had the last 3 games just, because they needed them. Baltimore's 2 in the box right now. They'll win some more. Buffalo 40-9 last week over, Carolina. There's going to be a lot of good teams that have 2 or this week. We'll see it with Detroit. They're going to play the Minnesota Vikings. this is the kind of game in a division game where you say, oh, yeah, that can be competitive. 8.5 is too many points. No, it's not. No, it's not, because Detroit's not playing Minnesota. They're chasing Green Bay. And so their motivation is different than if it was just the Vikings trying to catch Detroit. Detroit's looking to, they're one behind in the loss column to Green Bay, and they lost straight up to them. So anyway, that's the preamble. Week 9.
It's interesting that you brought up the Bears and the Ravens game and Lamar not playing, and that's motivation for the Ravens, not the Bears. It's a letdown spot. Happens all the time in basketball. Happened last night in Milwaukee. Warriors go to Milwaukee about an hour before the game starts. They announce Giannis isn't going to play. Giannis not playing. Line goes from 2.5 to 7.5. Warriors lose outright. It happens. That's the sport where it happens most, because football, it kind of needs to happen to a quarterback. Hockey doesn't happen, and baseball doesn't really happen because there's just too many players. But basketball, when you lose your star, that's the, oh man, we could win this game now. Giannis isn't playing. It's going to be easier. And even if you're not thinking it consciously, you're subconsciously thinking it. And what the Bucks are thinking is, this is going to be great. We're going to get a chance to play. We don't get a chance to play without Giannis very often. We can kind of do our thing. We're not going to have to worry about minutes because we're not going to get yanked if we screw up. And we know we need to play really, really well so we don't get blown out. And all those contributing factors usually add up to a loss for the overconfident team. Steve said this after the game. He goes, I don't know what we are. I think we might be 0-12 the last 12 times the Star's been out of a game. He goes, there's something about it that just, you can't, it's a screwy situation. And I've been in that situation both for and against. And you see it coming in basketball a mile away. When the quarterback's out, Dennis, he's the guy that kind of use that little mental barometer where it's like, oh, he's out. Oh, we're good. Nah, not as good as you think you are. Now, maybe the next week, that's when they think that the scales balance out, but not that first week. Rarely does it happen that way.
We got 5 quarterbacks coming back this week, 5 starting quarterbacks returning to the lineup, including Lamar last night. Purdy was on that list, but now we understand he's not going to start. Yep. But, Jaden Daniels comes out. You know who they are probably. There's I got a mark here. The Falcons will bring back.
Penix is coming back.
And anyway, there's 5 of them, where you get these starting quarterbacks returning. What's that going to do to the team? Is that going to pump them, or is that going to have them relax because now they got their starter back? It can work either way. I thought the 49ers would have more trouble in New York if Purdy did play than if Jones plays.
Huh. All right. Well, let's get to one of the games that the quarterback is coming back, and I'm intrigued in this game. Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers, going to come back this week, and they're getting 13 points against the Packers in Green Bay. Carolina's actually had some decent performances this year where they've hung in some games. The defense is not great. Well, the offense isn't great, to be honest with you, either. It's okay. But they're 4-4. They've hung in. Didn't stand a chance last week against Buffalo. The Red Rocket just doesn't have it anymore. Forget what I said about quarterbacks coming in and the other team having to rise up, because that didn't happen last week. But sometimes there are extenuating circumstances like,
the Buffalo's coming off 2 losses.
Exactly. 2 losses, and they got to keep up with Kansas City. So that was almost like hey, I don't care who's playing, we're going to be focused in this spot. And they were, unfortunately, for the Panthers. This week, I get the Packers off just an incredible performance. I mean, that second half performance against Pittsburgh was as good as it gets. They just dominated both offensively and defensively. Now they're going home. You know what? I think they can not play their best and win, but that's a lot of points in the NFL. And Bryce Young's been a little Jekyll and Hyde this year since Dowdle. When Chuba Hubbard went out, Dowdle came in. Their running game now has 2 guys. McMillan's a good, certainly going to be a number 1 receiver one of these days. But even if they don't stay within the number early, I feel like there's a chance for a backdoor here. And I don't mind going against a team that was on a standalone game, Green Bay, and looking as good as Green Bay did. All I kept hearing after the game, Dennis, was, oh, now that's the Green Bay team we saw against Detroit. That's the team that could win the Super Bowl. That's the team. Christian Watson's back. Oh, you can't stop this team. Maybe they're right, but I think they'll get stopped enough to where the Carolina Panthers can hang within that number. How do you see that one?
Yeah, I think Green Bay is a real good team. You know,
so do I.
5-1-1. So, taking nothing away from their record other than they only had the one loss. So that's pretty good stuff. This is a horrible spot for them because they played so well against Pittsburgh. And they're looking at a film from last week where Carolina got beat 40-9. And they're not taking into consideration that they were, 3-0 and 3-1 in their prior 4 games. And so Carolina is much improved from the unit we saw last year until the last 4 or 5 weeks. They actually played pretty well, did Carolina. So yeah, I agree with you. I we'll see how the numbers come in tonight and how strong people are on the Packers, but I certainly wouldn't be laying those points. I guarantee you that. Whether I'm on the Panthers or not is a debate that will be decided in the next 48 hours. But yeah, we won't be on the Packers, that's for sure.
All right, let me get to one, and then we'll get to the Niner game and maybe a few that you find intriguing. This one, I really want to take the Steelers this week. I do. I wish they're getting 3.5. They're not. They're getting 3. I feel like there's a lot of times now. I've done a pretty good job of avoiding betting against the Colts this year. I think I've had the Colts once, and I was against them when they went out to San Diego, LA. I still want to say that. I will always say San Diego.
I wasn't confused who you were talking about when you said
I know. If people are my age, they know exactly who I'm talking about. They went out to LA and just put a beat down on the Chargers. This is like a typical Tomlin spot, right? A Tomlin underdog at home spot, and they bounce back and get this win. Indy has given me no reason to bet against. They just haven't. They give me no reason to bet against them. And I don't know that I want to bet against them. I don't know that I will. I'm trying to find a reason, Dennis, to take Pittsburgh because this is such a Tomlin spot. But that Colts team may just be a juggernaut. May just may be a team that let's put it this way. There are other games out there to wager on than trying to beat the Indianapolis Colts. How do you see it?
Yeah, I always like to look at a team and go, boy, that reminds me of, and in this case, this Colts team reminds me of the 99 St. Louis Rams, because that Rams team, to all of our work that we've done for 40 years, that the offense of the St. Louis Rams of 1999 ranks number 1 all time on our chart.
Greatest show on turf.
Yeah, the greatest show on turf, And during the regular season, they just rolled people. They'd get into a bad spot and you go, well, here it is. Yeah. And then they just roll them, and until they got to the playoffs. They didn't cover against Tampa Bay when Tampa Bay actually should have won the game when they didn't. They had to change the rule that was a catch because even though it touched the ground, he had
I remember that.
And then they in the Super Bowl, they tackled the Tennessee player inches from the goal line. Had he scored, it probably would have gone overtime. They would have added the extra point, but it probably would have gone overtime, which means had he made that extra few inches, that game would have been Tennessee over. He stopped an inch short, and it was Rams under in the Super Bowl. So talk about a play that made a difference. So I'm looking at this Colts team, and I'm actually looking for a reason to take them. And it might be partly a reaction to they were in a tough spot last week. I still know that they were in a tough spot last week, even though they won 38-14 and Tennessee's horrible and all that stuff. They were in a tough spot, and they blasted them, and it wasn't close. And now they're going to go into Pittsburgh and have a letdown? No, like you, they respect Pittsburgh. They respect Tomlin at home. My chart shows Pittsburgh, home team dog, awful loss, at home, Pittsburgh. And I'm thinking, I won't be on Pittsburgh. I guarantee it. I won't be on Pittsburgh. And I'm tempted to be on the Colts side. I don't think Pittsburgh is special this year, and they're in first place. That's a bad combination. Their defense is a liability. We're not used to the Steelers having a defense that's a liability. And I don't know how long their quarterback's going to hold up. You know, he's old. And Aaron Rodgers gets hit once or twice. You know, he had a meltdown when the guy, his own teammate, tackled him when they took the lead in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. I just don't trust him through a whole game. And the Colts defense is their liability. That if they're going to get beat, it's going to be because the better defensive team will beat them. Yeah. Pittsburgh is not the better defensive team in this game. You know, these are comparable defenses. And the Colts offense, that's as good as any. You know, so no, if I'm on this game, you know, maybe we can have a little side bet, Tom. You can, so you don't have to worry about big money, and you know, we'll put our pride on the line because, you know, you've got more to share than I do. And so, you know, you'll have to give me some points or something, but we'll go with, I'll take the Colts in that spot, and you can put your pride on the line on the Steelers.
God, I don't know that I want. I'm not sure that I want to.
In a great line, I'll let it ride. When the one guy standing at the bar says to Trotter, you know, he says, "I would put my life on it," and Trotter said, "There's a $2 minimum."
Yeah, I remember that. That's such a great movie. Such a great underrated gambling movie. He really loves me. All right, let's get to the Niner game. As you mentioned, Mac Jones going to be starting. Purdy will be available, but it sounds like it's going to be another week. And again, I think a lot of it is the Meadowlands has been a house of horrors for the Niners, and they're just like, yeah, we don't want to risk an injured player coming back and getting hurt at the Meadowlands on this brutal turf. I think the Scatterboo effect is going to be real for the Giants. I mean, God, that guy was like a cult hero in New York. And I think you could tell when he went down, the team was visibly shaken when he went down. Like, you could just tell how much he meant to the team, and his energy was infectious, and the way he ran the ball, he was physical. The fans loved him. Like, there was a vibe around this guy. And I just don't know that they're going to be able to replicate that with Tracy Jr. and Singletary. In fact, I know they're not going to be able to replicate that. The passing game is pretty much non-existent with Robinson and Slayton. Once Neighbors went out, that was pretty much your wide receiver room. And I think after last week, the Niners losing that game last week, the way they lost Dennis, I said last week it was almost like the Levy broke. Like, it could have broke the week before. It didn't. They had guys like, you know, putting their fingers in the dike and holding on and just got, oh my gosh, can we get this? Can we get? And it finally caught up to him. It just caught up to him last week, and the water just came gushing in. I think we get back to somewhere in between the two this week, where it's not going to be what it was against Houston. May not be the 10 points they had the Falcons to, but it'll be a better performance. And I think that'll be enough against this Giants team. I think they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit better. Giants defense not as good as Houston's defense. And I think Mac Jones will play. It wasn't terrible. It just they never had the ball. They had the ball for 18 and a half minutes last week. That was it. So I just my long way of saying I think the Niners get this one. I don't know that I'd feel super comfortable laying 2.5, but if I had to, I know Dr. Bob said if he had to, he'd take the Giants. If I had to, I'd take the Niners. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think this is a tough one. I'm a little concerned about the Niners' travel schedule. They've been flying all around the country. You know, now they go from Houston home back to New York. I'm just looking at this Giants team. We stayed off a great motivational play a few weeks ago when they played the Philadelphia Eagles on the Thursday night, because I said there's just not enough talent on the Giants to bet on them. You know, they'd lost I think the week before, and so they were in a situation already where they weren't a good team and they were banged up, and we didn't know what Jackson Dart was going to be yet. You know, he was just coming in, and it was a great motivational play for the New York Giants or Philadelphia, and I skipped it. And one of my clients called and said, I just read your article. You're biting your tongue, aren't you? And I said, what do you mean? He said, I know you. It sounds like you want to take the Giants. That's what this article read like, and you're not going to do it. And I said, yeah, I really do want the Giants, but I can't. I think they're that bad, and I just can't take defending Super Bowl champ against a bad team. That just didn't match up for me. And of course, as we know, that was the night that the Giants did upset the Eagles in that great spot where I didn't think they had enough. Well, now we're a few weeks later, and the Giants are getting more credit for who they are, but they, like the 49ers, could be comparing injury reports because both teams have lost critical players on both sides of the ball. And so, particularly in the Giants' case on the offense side, you lose your best receiver, you lose your spirited running back, as you mentioned. Jackson Dart is the only other one pumping life into this team. Rookie against the 49ers, but then it's a bad defense. I don't want to be laying points with the Niners defense on the road. So this is an easy non-call for me.
Okay.
This is an easy non-play for me. I'll watch it. I'll root for the Niners, given who I am and where I grew up, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Got it. All right. What are some games? Give me a couple games that intrigue you that you're looking at going, kind of like that one.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now that we love this one. So you and I have been talking about the New England Patriots for a number of weeks and saying, man, this would be the spot against New Orleans. We both like the Saints against and
we
the
did.
Patriots were the better team and won the game. There were a couple of breaks in the game, but they got them and they won the game. You're in a situation where I've been waiting for the Patriots to get into the bad spot. Welcome to it. We've got the Atlanta Falcons coming into town. The Patriots have won 5 in a row. The Atlanta Falcons got the big headlines a few weeks ago when they beat the Buffalo Bills. Now they've lost 2 games in a row, first to the 49ers and then again last week. Now they're in a situation where this is where they come out of it. This is where the Atlanta Falcons, who are Jekyll and Hyde, I love Jekylls and Hyde, those teams that are good enough to take advantage of good situations, not good enough to overcome bad ones. This is a great situation for the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons will probably be the top pick of the week on Sunday.
Yeah, I like the Falcons there too. I really do. It was at 5.5 last I checked. I know London and Penix are coming back. Might have gone down to 5. I still like that number. I would definitely take them over the Patriots. And yeah, like I probably before I'd take the Saints again. I mean,
I'm not going to change off the game. The spread's not going to move enough to sway me off the. This may be one that goes to 3.5 on game day.
Yeah, it might be.
I wouldn't expect
it,
but I'm just saying, even if it did, I'm on them.
All right, let's see. What else do you got? I'm trying to find. I know there was one more that I liked, but I'm not. I got to find it first. What else do you see that you like?
What else do I like? Well, I like a couple of. Oh, I like the. Is it the Sunday night game, Washington?
Yes.
Game?
Yeah. I kind of like Washington there against Seattle.
I love Washington there. They get Jalen Daniels back, and they're playing. I was looking at the numbers on this one. We've got the Seahawks, who have been playing great, but now suddenly road favorites over Washington. Washington and Denver were the 2 teams that I was concerned about coming into the year because they had such breakthrough, campaigns last year from being in last place to the playoffs. And so I always am very suspicious of those teams. Denver's defense has kept them in the games that they've won, essentially. And in this case, Washington's defense is a liability, but I think they're going to score a lot of points against Seattle. So I think the Commanders, with Daniels coming back here, are going to have a good day. Hey, Lulu, I think they're going to have a good day. I'll take I'll just look at that dog.
I know.
I just love dogs.
Oh, God. She loves Batman, too. You love Batman.
The other one that I'm looking at that I like is, and once again, I always like to see, what comes in. But Houston is in one of those spots where I think they're a better team than their record. And they lost a lot of close games early, and then they got to a situation where they caught the 49ers in the right week. But their offense looked good too. Now they come back and they're making them, a slight favorite over the Denver Broncos. Here's a game where you say the only reason they could be favorites is because they're going to beat the Broncos. So I like the Texans in that spot.
All right, let me give you one more just in case people want to bet on the big game of the weekend, and I doubt you'll be on it, but if you have any thoughts on it, the Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites at Buffalo, and this one to me, I was like looking at it, I just couldn't come up with anything that I wanted to do in this game. I mean, side total, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll just sit back and watch this one. There are other games out there I like a lot better than this one. I mean, Kansas City might be the best team in football right now, the way they're playing. The defense has been good. I mean, Spagnuolo always, since he's been there the last 3 or 4 years, defense has been fantastic. The Chiefs' offensive line is one of the best in the game. They got Rashee Rice, and now they're stocked. They go from like not having a great wide receiver room to having a stocked wide receiver room. And Kelsey, the running back situation still kind of But interestingly enough, Dennis, Patrick Mahomes started out this year running more than he's run in the last 4 or 5 years. Like he started this year running like he runs in the playoffs. And that's always been his MO. Don't run, don't put your body at risk in the regular season, but in the playoffs, go ahead and let it go. This year, I don't know if he felt something like until the team got healthy, they were going to need him to do that, but he's been incredible this year. He's probably I would imagine he's the front runner for the MVP. Him and maybe Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor may be up there somewhere. But Buffalo's, I don't know, they're desperate, but they never beat Kansas City. Like this is one apparent. Obviously, they're going to want. They don't want to fall further behind Kansas City. They know how important the number 1 seed is in the AFC. It looks like it'd probably be Indy, but you never know. Do you see anything here? Like even if you had to lean one way or the other, the way you look at it?
Well, I've been doing a lot of work on it because it's a game of such interest between, this rivalry. It's interesting that Buffalo got them last year in the regular season in a game that Buffalo was favored and Kansas City came in undefeated. And people said, oh, you can't bet against an undefeated team giving points. Yes, you can. And we did. And they covered, but they covered because Josh ran that last touchdown in. The spread was only 2.5 or something, but they were only up by 2 until he took that one in, late.
That's right.
Which they use now in the commercial in the airport where the guys are happy they're delayed on the flight.
Yeah.
That's the play that they show on their little a laptop there. I want to look up, and one of the studies I'm due tonight, and I want to see how the numbers come in tonight and tomorrow from the casinos, but I want to see how real good teams like Buffalo do as home team underdogs, because it's one of those situations where you say, oh, well, you got to take so-and-so when they're an underdog at home. Mahomes coming into this year, he's 1-1 now, was 1-4 lifetime as a home team underdog at Arrowhead. And so I've got to see what Josh is as a home team dog. Buffalo, while he's been there since 2018, and just check other teams too, because I have a theory in my mind that maybe they're home team underdogs because they're in trouble. And the only reason they'd be an underdog at home is because they're not going to win. That kind of thinking instead of, oh man, points with a good team at home, I'll take that. So I'm going to do a little extra research on that just to see. I don't think we'll squeeze a play out of this matchup. I think it's a great game, and depending on what time of the day we would be doing this show, I'd be saying this team or that team, because I have looked at something. Oh yeah, it's Buffalo. Oh Jesus, you can't bet against Kansas City there. That kind of deal. So we'll see. Great game. Here we go. Line them up. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm so happy you're coming to the Lafayette Library in a few weeks on November 13th. What I'm concerned about is people come to see you. So
they're not going to come to see
while
me.
I'm making the presentation on the book, if you wouldn't mind, telling people to look towards the front of the stage for a little while instead of hovering around you, that would be appreciated, Tom.
Yes, I will do that. I would definitely do that. All right, before we let you go, one candy for the rest of your life. What is it?
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I heard you ask the same question for Bob, and a lot of bars ran through my mind. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think they make it anymore. But my favorite candy growing up was a Mountain Bar. Did you ever have a Mountain Bar?
No, a Mountain Bar. What
it was
is
a
that?
Mountain Bar, and it looked like a mountain, and it was chocolate and had a little something in the middle. And they had two different flavors. They had a cherry kind of flavor or a strawberry, something red, and a white kind of thing. And it was milk chocolate, nuts on top of it. And it was called a Mountain Bar. And so I'm out of the candy business without Mountain Bars.
Wow. I've never, ever heard of such a. I've heard of an Uno Bar.
I don't know.
Not a fan. There you go, right there. Is that it right there? The Mountain Bar? No, that looks like a. That doesn't look like the candy bar. That looks like maybe
that is interesting. Though. That's what they were. They were vanilla and cherry, and it says Mountain Bar. Now, what I remember was it was bigger than that. The ones we used to buy for a nickel were bigger than that, and the package was kind of. But good for Daniel.
There you go.
It there. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a Mountain Bar. Now, the ones that I had the center. Was where the cream was. It was in the center, not on the bottom like that one. That's a little
okay. So no, you can't even pick a bar because your bar is
that's it. The one on the far left. Go back, guys. Go back to the other way. Go back there. That one on the top.
That one. That one.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. That's the Mountain Bar.
That's the one, huh?
That's it.
Look at that. Never heard of it.
Yeah, they
never
were
heard of a Mountain Bar. Huh. That looks like something my dad would like.
Yeah.
My dad.
My
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my dad.
Man, but don't rub it in here. Come on now.
My dad was the Baby Ruth. That was his favorite.
Oh yeah.
And then Rocky Road ice cream, which I couldn't stand. I didn't like peanuts and stuff like that in my candy bars. I certainly didn't want peanuts frozen in my ice cream. That's the last thing I wanted. So yeah, I wasn't. But yeah, he was like Rocky Road all day.
If you're talking about a candy bar forever, though, it would be tough not to land on a Hershey bar, because that would always last. You're always getting good chocolate. I was thinking Starburst, but then my mouth would have all these sores in it from eating Starburst all the time. That wouldn't be the answer, but just straight, Hershey bar, that's pretd solid rock. That could last a long time.
I don't know. That might be the answer, the Starburst, because I would go fruity. I'd probably go something gummy, some Haribo gummy products. The Twin Snakes are my favorite. And so there you go. I wouldn't go candy bar.
On the radio, Swedish
fish. Swedish fish.
Swedish fish was your partner's favorite.
Yeah, I like Swedish fish. They're fine.
Swedish fish too.
I'm going to give some out tonight. I think I have some in the cauldron, the candy cauldron.
We take care of the kids. I buy the boxes of candy, and give that out. And we bought Cracker Jacks this year, boxes of Cracker Jacks.
Oh, wow.
And so, we do good for the kids. And in the old days when there was a lot of teenagers and the kids, we'd be handing out this great candy and our pumpkins would still be on the porch. And everybody else would have eggs on the windows and pumpkins broken in the front yard. My house is like the mafia house. Nobody.
There you go.
I was paying them off with candy. It was a
take care of the kids. Take care of the kids. Well, have a happy Halloween dinner.
Would that have been my son? Maybe that's why our house wasn't in there. It was. But would that have been my son causing the trouble?
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Happy Halloween to you and your listeners.
Happy Halloween, Dennis. Let's see if we can get some winners. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Tom.
See you, Dennis. Dennis Ranahan, Quackside Picks Football .com. I can't believe I did that whole thing in the Batman mask. It just talking sports, Batman mask, beard. Batman. We got Batman, Bateman, and Batman. I guess is what we got. So there you go. There's the information. What do we got? We got. I thought we had like a traffic cop in the back, but it's actually Camila with a whistle. I think she's saying it's time to go. I got stuff to get to real quick before I go though. So let's talk about the World Series. Game 6 tonight. Gausman, Yamamoto. Everybody thought they're done. They're done. The Dodgers are done. Oh man, Dodgers, are they done? I don't think they're done, but they haven't hit really this postseason. The Dodgers have pitched, haven't hit, and they've gotten to within 2 games of winning the World Series with pitching and a couple Ohtani games. That's been about it. Freeman's done his thing a little bit. Teoscar Hernandez had a couple decent swings. Mookie has not been good. Muncy has not been good. They've had a bunch of guys that have not been good. And truth be told, Ohtani has not been good, save for a couple games. A couple games he was incredible in the playoffs. We know the 6 innings pitched, no earned runs, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts, 3 homers. We know the 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 9 times on base. We know those 2 games. Other than that, he hasn't done a whole lot. In fact, I don't know that he has more than a hit the last couple games. I mean, it was game 3 that he had the monster mash game. And let's see, they've lost 6-2 and 6-1 the last couple games. And Ohtani has been, let's see, Ohtani's been 0-for-7. So 0-for-7 the last 2 games. Then he had the 2-for-4 before that. Other than that game, Ohtani is 2-for-15 in the playoffs. I don't love candy corn. 2-for-15 in the playoffs. Milwaukee, 3 home run game. The 3 games before that, he was 2-for-11. I'm doing a show right now, sweetie. Okay? Thank you. So sweet. I love that little girl. Philadelphia. He did kill it in Philadelphia, 1-for-18. So Cincinnati, he was 3-for-9. So Ohtani hasn't even hit, except for 2 games where he put together just insane numbers. In those games, Ohtani was, what did he have? 7 hits and 5 home runs. 7 hits, 5 home runs. So he's not doing it. Betts isn't doing it. Freeman's kind of hit or miss, but not really. Muncy, they don't hit. So if they don't hit, they're not going to win. Because the Blue Jays do hit. That's what the Blue Jays have done during the postseason. And it's been pitching versus hitting, and hitting has won. Hitting has won out so far. Will it continue to win out? I'm not sure. Yamamoto goes tonight. He's a favorite. Who will it be in game 2? Will it be Glasnow in game 2? I would think. I think it's going to be Glasnow in game 2 or in game 7. Because I think he followed Yamamoto. Because, it'll be Glasnow. So, I look, Blue Jays would love to get it done tonight with Gausman. And Vladimir Guerrero has been fantastic. Bichette's been fantastic. We'll see if Springer goes tonight. So Springer didn't go last day. Schneider hits a home run to lead off the game. I mean, that was shocking, right? That was like bang, bang, right out of bed. You're down 2-0. Back to back jacks. Snell had to be thinking, what in the hell? But then Snell held him in there forever, as long as he could. They end up going down. So I'm trying to look to make sure it would be. I didn't say who the starters are, but yeah, I think it'll be Glasnow. And I don't know who it'll be. I'd have to look again for the Blue Jays. But I think Blue Jays got a great chance at this thing. back at home, hitting the ball. I mean, Yamamoto now has pitched 2 complete games in the playoffs. So that's going to be the story tonight. Can they get to him? Can they get to that bullpen? How long can Gosman go? Can he give you 7? It's fascinating stuff, especially since everybody assumed after 18 innings, Blue Jays were done. I think everybody forgot that Ohtani, who had been on base 9 times, was pitching later on that evening. That's a huge deal. And that the Dodgers played 18 innings too. It wasn't just the Blue Jays. Yeah, it's a gut punch. Yeah, it's hard to come back from. But you just do because you have to. You have no other choice but then to come back. So it should be fascinating tonight. If the Dodgers lose this game, they're going to want heads. Not sure why they'll want heads, but that's just the way it works. You got to blame somebody. You can't credit the other team. So you certainly can't blame the starters. They've shouldered the load as much as possible. Even though Snell hasn't been great. And let me get Snell's numbers for you. Snell has not been great in the World Series, but he's been fantastic throughout the playoffs. Let me see. Player stats. Let me get Snell for you and get you Snell's game log. And I'll let know that exactly what he's doing. So he's pitched 2 games against Toronto, 11 2/3 innings pitched, and 10 earned. He's been awful. I didn't realize it was that bad. I forget a lot of inherited runners scored. And so they've gotten to Snell. They've absolutely touched him up. And actually, I mean, I guess I'd still say you can't blame the starters, even though the starters haven't been great. And maybe if you want to say starters haven't even been good against other than Yamamoto, the starters haven't been good against Toronto. I said, Snell give up 11 2/3, give up 10 runs. And then let's see. Let me get to Glass now and see what Glass now has done. He's only pitched 1 game against him, but he hasn't been great in the playoffs. 4 2/3, 4 runs, 2 earned. So the games before that, he was really good. So he's been okay. Ohtani was okay. So really, it's kind of Snell that's taking it. So if you're the Blue Jays, you'd love to get to the bullpen. I don't think you count on that. If you get to the bullpen, great. Fantastic. I mean, I don't think you're getting another Klein performance, which was phenomenal in that 18-inning game. But I think everybody that's listening to this right now, aside from maybe a few people, are pulling for the Toronto Blue Jays. All right, Warriors lose last night, 120-110 in Milwaukee. Again, it's one of those games. NBA happens all the time. Star goes out. You kind of let your defenses down a little bit. They jump on you. Ryan Rollins was balling last night. I mean, you want to talk about picking up like left, right, boom, 20-foot pull-ups going left. Like he was good. He was good last night. So, and they hit some big shots, got after him. Warriors weren't super sharp offensively, 20-plus turnovers, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen to other teams. A star goes out. It's just those games become hard. They just do. And as far as and if you want to get into it, I'll take some comments at the end of the show. If you want to get into the Warriors a little bit deeper last night, I don't know if there's anything more than they just didn't have it last night. I don't know. Steve said fatigue played a part. I don't know how much of a part. I'm not with him on the road. But it wasn't crisp. It wasn't what you'd hope to expect. But they played a lot of games early, and it's going to get worse. Going to be a lot more road games. And travel schedule isn't kind to them, but everyone deals with it. Everyone has to deal with it. So whatever, you do the best you can and move on. Yeah, I like the Niners this week. I do. I probably shouldn't like the Niners as much as I do. I know Dennis said he likes the Niners a little bit if he had to. Bob said he'd take the Giants if he had to. They don't have to, though, so they're not going to bet the game. Bob has the over on that game. You bet the over at 47, and I think it's at 48.5. So I could see that. I kind of like the over in that game too, but I just think after last week's performance, and I like the Texans last week, and I just the travel isn't kind to the Niners again, right? But I feel like after last week, and you got the Rams and the Seahawks playing good ball, you don't want them pulling away from you. And this is one of those games we talked about. They got about 3 games on the schedule left that you need to win these games. And a couple of them are on the road. This one's on the road. Cleveland's on the road. You got Carolina at home. You get Tennessee at home. Like, these are games you got to win. You got to find a way to win. Like, if you're a playoff team, you find a way to win these games. And I know the first thing that pops into my head was, well, hey, Tom, Chargers didn't win in New York. They're a playoff team. Granted, Jackson Dart, first game. I think everybody was pumped up for that one. I think it was a bad travel spot for the Chargers, and there was a little bit of a letdown. But I think with the Niners coming off that loss, knowing that the Giants have a little bit more juice than they did with Russell Wilson at quarterback, I think their hackles will be raised. But I think the Scatterbo effect is real. I think he was one of those guys that added juice to the team. He was a juice guy. He was the juice man. Everybody was pumped to see Scatterbo. The fans were pumped to see Scatterbo. The players are pumped to see Scatterbo. Just the way he played, how hard he played. I think not having him is going to make a difference. So I like the Niners there by 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there. So I don't know if I'll take them, but I kind of like the Niners. All right, before we get on out of here, if you guys have one candy, rest of your life, what is it? Dr. Bob says mini Reese's peanut butter cups, not Reese's Pieces, mini Reese's peanut butter cups, because the peanut butter is in a better ratio with the chocolate. and Dennis said Mountain Bar, which I've never heard of before. Erwin says Snicker Bites. I'm not a Snickers guy. Bonkers. I remember Bonkers. I don't know that I've had Bonkers or would even know of Bonkers if it hit me in the face. But I would go Haribo gummy. Gummy bears, gummy twin snakes, gummy cherry cola, Three Musketeers. Oh, man. Dad liked Three Musketeers. I'm out. Too rich, too creamy. Reese's, the GOAT. Yeah, I think most people would agree Reese's. I think that's probably going to be your number one candy. Reese's peanut butter cups, full size, except no substitute. So Opie enjoys the ratio of the peanut butter to chocolate in the real size bars. Bob, however, wants more chocolate. That's why Charleston Chew. Which what? Like no one's coming up with Charleston Chew, like except you. I've heard of Charleston Chew. I never had a Charleston Chew. I don't think. Twix, Tootsie Rolls. Okay, I go for Tootsie Rolls. Twix are okay. If I'm gonna go Twix, give me 100-gram bar. 100 grand is my candy bar. Like if I'm going candy bar, which I don't go very often, I will go 100-gram bar. Three Musketeers was nasty. I'm gonna agree with you on that. Again, my dad liked those too. My dad liked some nasty candy bars. My dad enjoyed the Three Musketeer bars. He enjoyed the Rocky Road bars, Baby Ruth. Reggie bars, not to my knowledge, still around. Not to my knowledge. For those that don't even know what that is, that was the Reggie Jackson bar. I think any candy bar that you don't know what it is probably chocolate, caramel, and like nougat. And that's it. I could go with a Rolo, though. Just give me straight chocolate. Give me straight chocolate and caramel. I'm good. Because you can roll a Rolo with a friend. Chocolate-covered caramel. I could go Rolo. Like Rolo would definitely be in the mix for top tier candy bar. 100 grand is the top candy bar for me. That's the top of the mountain. The Hershey's, you can't go wrong with the Hershey's. You can't go wrong with just a plain good chocolate bar. Nothing fancy, just chocolate, just solid. Then no bells, no whistles, just good gas mileage. Gonna be reliable, gonna stay on the road, not super exciting, not gonna go 0 to 60 and anything spectacular. The rims are just gonna be car rims. They're not gonna get anybody turning their heads on the side of the road. It's not gonna be sleek. It's just gonna be dependable. It's gonna be solid, and everyone's gonna enjoy it. Well, it may not wow you. That's the Hershey bar, but I respect that. Like the Hershey bar should probably be the candy of choice. Tolbert. I love the name, of course. But the triangle candy bar. That's big ass. You could like beat off a robber with those things. And the Toblerone bars are massive. It's like Gandalf the Grey. It's like you have a wand, like a magic wand. Your Toblerone bar. So, but I go for a Toblerone bar. There's nothing wrong with that. Mounds or Almond Joy or neither. Neither. I go none. I'm not down with coconut in my candy. So yeah, I'm going 0 on those. Worst thing to hand out. Who hands out floss? Nobody. That's a myth. No one hands out floss on Halloween. Raisins. I've gotten raisins before. Don't mind. Nobody hands out apples anymore. Nobody. I haven't. I don't think they've handed out apples in years. Fake money. Never seen that. Or religious pamphlet inside. What? People are handing out religious pamphlets? Like I've never had that before. Come on. What are the Hare Krishners giving out candy and pamphlets? Because I've never known like I got like what Mormon, Catholic, whatever it is. Somebody handing out me somebody giving me a religious pamphlet. So I'm gonna say most of that stuff doesn't happen or hasn't happened. Again, because I've never known anybody to give out floss. And apples, I do, but candied apples like caramel apples. Lou equals Rob, man. Yeah. Oh yeah, they do. Floss and toothbrushes handed out in my bag. Well, way back. Okay, I didn't get them, but yeah, a lot of this stuff is way back. Apples are way back. Nobody's given out an apple in the last 20 years, probably, or 10 anyway. Since they had the razor blade scare, I never knew anybody that got a razor blade. Why does my ear keep going down? I'm like a Shetland sheepdog. You can't keep their ears. You can't get their ears up. Yeah, paydays are okay. Yeah, those are the peanut ones. I can't have too many peanuts now. But the peanuts and like they're sticky as hell, man. Paydays will rip out a molar. You bite a payday and you just chew that thing up, you may just suction cup off a filling right off a molar. Just boom. And all of a sudden, if you thought you had a crown on your tooth, you don't have a crown on your tooth. And so, speaking of crowns, went to the dentist yesterday. Got to get a couple crowns. My teeth are the worst teeth ever. I try to take care of them. Not great, but I try. And it just doesn't matter. I even get cavities underneath crowns, which seemingly isn't even possible. Isn't that what crowns are there for? To avoid more decay, and then you still get decay. And so, oh yeah, and you know what the dentist had yesterday? Candy bucket. How's that? I go, is this ironical? You're a dentist. Are you supposed to have candy up here? I appreciated it though. I appreciated the dentist had candy, a bucket, big, like the old school round jack-o'-lantern bucket. Boom. Then I grabbed one just because it's a dentist. I didn't even eat it. I'm gonna get one of these. And so anyway, I'll be hanging out, giving out candy tonight. Hopefully we get some kids. I like getting kids. I hate it when we have no kids. I hate it when we have candy left over. I want to get rid of all my candy. All my candy has to go. It will be priced to go. It's going to go. Even if the last kid, Milk Duds, yes. Yes. Give it up. The ultimate, Milk Duds are the ultimate movie candy. Milk Duds and Red Vines. And I guess Sour Patch Kids. They're like, but Milk Duds, absolutely. Like, I never eat Milk Duds. I like Milk Duds. I'm not a huge candy guy anyway. But if I go to movies, I'll have a few Milk Duds. And so, get my dentist wife out here to see what's going on. Yeah, get your wife out here to see. Tell me why I have a. Why maybe that's how bad I am. That's how pathetic I am. Yeah, you got a crown on that teeth, and you have decay. It looks like underneath, and it's down to the root. And don't have a crown on that tooth? Yeah, you do. So what did I get the crown for? I should have just taken that thing out. I should have just taken it out. And so I want to get the old dentures. You know, what was that little it looked like Alka-Seltzer. You know, you put it in the thing, you put it in a glass of water and it fizzes, and you take your dentures out and throw it in there. Those things were badass. Does anybody even do dentures anymore? Everybody does replacements. Yes, Red Vine straw. Everyone does replacements now, even though I heard they're kind of expensive. I thought about getting a whole bunch of replacements, like proactively, not even waiting until I needed them. Just like, hey, let's just swap these things out. And what I want to get, like Mike, what I want to get is different colored teeth. I don't know if I can get red, white, and blue, but that might be a little. I don't know what I want to get, but I don't want to go white. I don't want to go grills. I mean, maybe it's 2 grills. Maybe I should just go with. Maybe I just go with your basic beige or white, whatever. Maybe I shouldn't get too crazy with it. Yeah, probably not. It sounds good, but I'm not gonna do it. Nobody wants to see a 60-year-old guy with cartoon characters on his teeth or different flags on his teeth, or maybe like different craft beer. Or come to think of it, that could be good advertising. That'd be good advertising. I use that on the show. I won't even need to show your product. I'll just go, boom, we'll be right there. I should think of something like that. Now, I'm not getting grills with diamonds. Can you imagine how yo-yo that would look? 61-year-old Tom with grills with diamonds. That'd be incredible. Oh my God. All right, very good. I'm gonna get out of here. Happy Halloween to everybody. If you're gonna go out, I always tell everybody this, and I'm serious when I say this. Have what's in my shirt? It's keep it creepy. It's my little shirt, my little strangulation shirt. So there you go. Be careful out there. If you're driving, there are a lot of kids out there, and they're not paying attention to you. They're having a good time. They're running from house to house, maybe cutting across the street, maybe going from neighborhood to neighborhood. And all they want to do is just run and get as much candy as possible. And maybe their friend that went out 4 seconds ahead of them ran across the street and they looked. Maybe they're not going to look because they assume their friend looked. So they don't look, and all of a sudden you have a tragic incident where that'll change lives forever. So just drive slow when you're going through neighborhoods. In fact, drive slower tonight, period. Keep your head on a swivel. Look around. Make sure the kids aren't running around. Kids are hard to see. They're smaller. They hide behind cars. You can't pick them up as quickly as possible. So just make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of the kids. When you're driving through neighborhoods, especially neighborhoods, a little bit slower, a little bit more careful, not on the phone, not texting, not messing around, just fully focused on what's going on. Again, you don't want to change lives for the worse tonight. We want everybody to be safe. We want everybody to have a great Halloween. Kids can get their candy. Adults can hang out together, taking the kids from house to house. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Camila's going as forget what her name is, but she's the K-pop Demon Hunters, and I don't know what Kai is going to be. Kai's 1.5, so Kai's going to be whatever his mom and dad want him to be, which I'm not sure what he's going to be. I think he was a football last year. He was just a football. He didn't move much last year, so that was cool. But I'll be curious to see what he's going to be this year. So please do yourself a favor. Be safe. Protect the kids tonight, and have a happy Halloween. I'll see you Monday, everybody, or Sunday night, I guess. Sunday night for the post game. So we'll have a post game for you probably 4:15 until Sunday night football starts. Until then, happy Halloween, everybody. See ya.